And if you're familiar with the history, and it's really so tragic, it's so tragic. And when you think about it from a theological point of view, you have an idea of how the Eibishter looks at human maturation. You know, we had a civil war. 750,000 Americans were killed in that civil war. At a time that the entire population was, 20 million. It was an enormous number of people were murdered. A whole generation of men were wiped out. And Lincoln evolved. Lincoln became a champion of the emancipation of the slaves. And then he was killed. He was murdered. If Lincoln had lived, what happened in the 1960s would have happened in the 1860s. And you scratch your head and you say, why would the Eibishter do this? I mean, come on. There was a purge. It was a purge. That's what the word they use. There's a biblical term that they use. Well, the word they use, a scourge. There was a scourge of the earth. The world burned. And it was very costly. But people came out a little better after that war than before that war. They admitted, some of them reluctantly, what we said a few minutes ago, every human being owns himself. And you would think, gosh, something so wonderful would happen. Let it be easy. And they can't. It goes back almost to the place it was before. The African Americans suffer so much after the emancipation. It's unbelievable. And it was legal. It was laws that allowed segregation. And there was violence. Lynching is not a joke. And it's not a theory. It was a culture. And people who participated in these things were considered respectable, honorable citizens. And it took 100 years to, so to speak, fight the second step of this war. Now, God didn't exactly consult us on his plans, correct? So now if you look at it in hindsight, so of course the average American will say, of course, because God's not really in charge. If he wasn't in charge, he would not have let Booth kill Lincoln. Lincoln would have lived. He would have had 3 terms, 4 terms, and he would have given the Africans their own states, and they had their own governance, and their own colleges, and it would have been wonderful. I guarantee you that nobody is smarter than God. God did it this way because this is the only way people really learn lessons. They have to be painful. They have to be so painful. There has to be 100 years between the emancipation of the slaves and the recognition of Africans as equal human beings to everybody else. Why? Because the Eibishter enjoys human suffering? No, because the Eibishter enjoys human evolution, rehabilitation, maturation, growth. And these lessons are so hard to learn. It takes so much time to learn them. This is a theological interpretation. I'm giving you a religious perspective on American history. Now, I don't know why I'm talking American history, but these are the kinds of things this geek is busy with. But this is, when I think about it, this is how I perceive it. We don't understand how difficult it is for humanity to learn a lesson. We don't appreciate it. We say, if God existed, he'd be so nice and easy. And it's not true. It takes so much pain to learn these lessons. So much pain to learn these lessons. You want to use another example of this. The Western world abhors war. They hate war. At least that's what they say. You know what the Western world paid to learn the lesson that war is bad? 90 million lives. 90 million lives. Before World War I, they had words like chivalry, which were thinly veiled excuses for killing people and taking away their property. Why? Because I'm dressed nice, and I talk a good, proper British English, and I have a Gatling machine gun, and you're using spears. That's how virtuous the nicest country in the world, the British, were in the 19th century when they conquered Africa and they conquered Asia. And no one said a word. No one said a word. Lessons that humanity learns we learn them so reluctantly, so slowly.